It's the King J, back with another video. But listen, I'm old school, but we got another old school legend. This guy needs no introduction, man. Like, I would say one of the strongest old school guys I've seen. He's been around for some time. The Bryan has been putting people in a chokehold. He's been kicking ankles, you know, all of this stuff. We've all witnessed it. Dinosaur, welcome, man. It's an absolute honor to have you on, man. Serious.
What's good, Jay? Yeah. A pleasure to be here. And yeah, you've always been like you've been killing it at this kind of content creating thing for so long. So yeah, it's always a pleasure to like come on and see what you're doing.
Wicked, man. I wanted to ask, like, you see your main character, yeah, from before. What was your first main character in Tekken?
Ooh, you know what? I think it was either King or Hwarang.
King or Hwarang?
Yeah. Because they look. You remember the Tekken 3 intro?
Yeah.
Where they were like, you had Hwarang doing the cutters and you had like King doing the muscle buster.
Yeah.
Like, those characters look sick. They look awesome. So yeah, like the first characters I think I played were those two. The first ones I tried to be actually like good with.
Yeah. Whoa. So when did Raven come into play? Because people don't know that you played Raven.
Like, after Tag 1, I just wanted to experiment with new characters. So when new characters came out, I would be like, right, I'm going to see what this guy's like. So I just wanted to find my own stuff. That's a very important thing for me in fighting games in general. I wanted to be able to find my own tactics. So I wanted to find characters that had like new ground to explore. So I played Steve when he came out in Tekken 4, and I played Raven like when he came out in Tekken 5. So both those characters basically, I was one of the first players in Europe to seriously name them, because like I played them in the arcade versions when they very first came out.
Okay, and then you moved on to Jack. I'll never forget when Tekken 6.0 came out and you had some crazy streak on the Tekken 6.0 cabinets in Trocadero. Absolutely crazy. And then we're on to this character, Bryan Fury. So what do you think about this character in Tekken 8?
He's great fun. Like, he's just, I'm really impressed by the job that they've done with him. They've sort of kept the core of the character identity intact. They've given him, which was already like a really classic game design, but they've given him like really interesting new things as well, which don't like, and it doesn't take away from what his identity was before. It just adds like more fun into it. I think the things that they've included, like his Snake Eyes install and so on, are just like, they're really cool additions. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with him in this game.
Nice, man. All right, so talk me through his punishment, his standing punishment and his while standing punishment.
Yeah, so Bryan is a character where his standing punishment is probably not very good until he gets to 14 frames, at which it's suddenly very good. So at 10 frames, you have 2-3. Yep, this move, it does how much damage? Not very much, 24. It's okay, it's fine, and it leaves you at +6. One of the things is that it pushes you back a bit further than it used to in Tekken 7, which means that like follow-ups can be a bit tricky. Like the frame advantage looks very good, but there's not actually, you know, most of your uninterruptible mids can be moved around quite a lot. You can also just do his 1-2 jabs, which leads people much closer for much less damage. But if you look at how much it is on plus, it is +8, and they are right next to you. So if you want to keep your turn, it's 1-2. Next he has 4-3 at 12 frames. Again, this doesn't do like the most damage, like 27, and it only leaves you at +2, but it does have a follow-up which you can use to deter people who like really try and contest afterwards. Either 4-3 forward 4 or 4-3-4 will both like interrupt anything, but mostly it's just like a damage and range thing. Again, not that great. 13 frames. We're starting to get a bit better now, because this is a new addition in this game. He has up forward 2-2-2-3, and yeah, that's the special enhanced version. Yeah, it's a 3 punches into the knee. It's the one you have access to all the time. 28 damage. It gives you a knockdown. The follow-up after this is quite good, because you can they're on the floor, you can run up to them, you can get a mix up, you can get a taunt on them depending on the character if they quickly tech roll. And yeah, so it's better. Yeah, knockdowns are good, you can get a wall splat from it, it's decent. Right, then once you get to 40, and yeah, as I said, when he's got his special snake eyes installed, when his arm is on fire, you get more damage from this, and it will knock them back slightly further. When he, at 14 frames, he gets Jet Upper. Everyone knows about this one, it's a launcher. It's a launcher that leads to a lot of damage. There's often been characters in Tekken that have like 14 frame launchers, and they're often like not that damaging compared to other stuff, you know, like Law's old 3+4/4 didn't actually do all that much damage. This like the combos from this, they just do a lot of damage. It's very powerful, and that's basically all you want to do most of the time unless there's pushback involved. So when there's pushback, you can do 2 moves, well, one mainly, which is his map breaker. That is forward 2. That impacts at the fastest technical speed you can do it at is 14 frames, so it's the same speed as Jet Upper. But this is like really impractically difficult to do, so I wouldn't recommend it. But for 15 frames and up, it can be a little bit tricky, but map breaker is recommended if it's got pushback on it. So any move that pushes you back, like Paul's Death Fist, or Paul's Demo Man, or Jack's forward 2, any moves like this, you get forward 2, you will get a free heat engager if it's in, if you're in heat, you will launch them. And his last standing punishment is forward 4/1, 18 frames. It's a long range launcher. This is for stuff that has, so forward plus 4/1, that move. Yeah, it's a long range, 18 frame, basically for stuff which has pushback. That means you can't jet upper it. It's slow enough to be launch punishable. So like the main move you want to use this on is basically Laws while standing 2. That's a perfect punish for this. Or Jack's back 1+2 is 13 frame heat engager. So not a super, like you're not going to use it that much. This is very kind of niche, but that's it. Okay, while standing punishment. It's not that good, but we can talk about it. We can talk about it, and it gets better as it goes on. So 11 frames, same as most characters. He just has while standing 4. Yep. It's not very good damage. It's only +5. It's fine. You do it when you have to. At 12 frames, he has while standing 3, which is very slightly better. 1 less frame advantage, but only +4, but it's still like we're talking 17 damage. This is pretty mediocre. Full crouch, then at -13, he gets full crouch, down forward, and 2/1. This. Now it's like cool. Like 37 damage, a knockdown. This will wall splat from miles away. Yeah, it's unparryable, meaning that this is guaranteed after like moves like Ling's down back 2, where she can use her parry in back turns because you can't parry it because the first hit is an elbow. It's great. And yeah, it's got really good range. It's very reliable. Great move. And then at 15 frames, we have while standing 1. Once again, this is just like a big damage launcher. Nothing much to be said about that. And then 19 frames. There are some moves which are 18, which you won't be able to punish with this. He has Fisherman's Slam, which is while standing 2. And this has a special just frame version to it, where you press back 2 at the same time as the punch hits, and Bryan will laugh, and you will get bonus damage.
I have to press back at the same time.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's back and 2 at the same time. The 2 is the important thing.
I definitely can't do it. There we go.
You get the camera zooming in. You get the laugh. You get the blue sparks, and you can see that is a 35 damage launcher. So and you basically use that on any big recovering low sweep or recovering high, and yeah, that is outrageous damage. That is one of the most damaging combo starters you're going to land with most characters, basically.
Alright, cool.
See, that's his punishment.
Nice. All right, so let's move on to like launches. Like, give me like a few launches. I know we spoke about while standing 1 and obviously back forward 2. Is there any other launches that he has that are like pretty good, like counter hit maybe, like, you know, back 1?
Yeah. So most of his launches come from counter hits, and they come from they're not generally like the fastest, with like one exception, which is while standing 3. But yeah, I think the most important one is probably 3+4. That's the best. Like, it has good range. It tracks a little bit to one side, and again, it does outrageous damage. You will notice like a common theme here, like with Bryan in general, is that he just hits like a truck. Yeah. So there's that on counter hit. There's back 1 on counter hit, which now does a special like scooper spiraling in the air launch, which gets you extra like juicy combos afterwards. There is while standing 3, which is a very might be a mediocre block punisher, but as a counter hit button from like from crouch, it's very quick. It has quite good tracking in to Bryan's left versus sidestep right. And then he has like one of his best new additions, like maybe his actual just best new addition, completely crazy move. He has quarter circle back 1. This knocks down on normal hit, and on counter hit you get a big juggle. So yeah, you can do like run up. You can do like run up this, like this kind of stuff, right? I guess a huge juggle, and this move is just really insanely good. It's very fast. It's +5 on block, and gets you a counter hit launcher. It does good things on normal hit, even if it's not a counter hit. You just get a free quarter circle back 4. Like, technically doing quarter circle back 1 into quarter circle back 1 is uninterruptible by jabs.
It's really
outrageous range. Yeah, because it's +5, and it's technically like 15 frames of execution. So it will trade with jabs. Completely outrageous move. And yeah, so this kind of leads to how Bryan works, which is just that he's a very powerful like mid-range controlling character. You just do quarter circle back 1, and his we'll talk about his heat engages in a sec, but his quarter circle forward both punches, those, and maybe his forward 4 max kick. Quarter circle forward at the 1+2, yeah, that one, and maybe his forward 4. These moves, forward 4 and forward 3. So
yes.
This one is like a good homing move. So basically, this quarter circle forward 4, quarter circle forward both punches, back 1, quarter circle back 1. Just mixing up the timings on these at mid range, and you are already at the start of having like a strong Bryan, because these moves like dominate the mid range with this character.
Crazy. All right, so let's talk about heat engages. So what are these 5 heat engages?
So he has pretty good heat engages. Most of them are like safe or like strong in one way or another. Like the best one I think that we just sort of spoke a little bit about is quarter circle forward both punches. The quarter circle forward 1+6. This move.
Safe on block.
This is safe on block. It has wild range. It has quite good tracking. Like I said, at range, if anyone is just moving around, just this and this and this, and you know, these two mixed up are very powerful, because you duck for the quarter circle back 1, you get hit by the quarter circle forward both punches. Like it's super powerful. And yeah, it's safe. It's a fully launching heat engager. If you are in heat, it's not one of the ones which knocks down. It does a boatload of damage on chip damage if you are in heat. It's just really good. Right, there's other ones. Down back 1+2, not quite as good. Wedge driver, but it is 15 frames.
That's safe too.
Quick. What's that?
That one's safe as well.
Yeah, safe. That's safe too. Yeah. Why would it be safe, Jez?
They buffed him because it's Tekken 7, boy.
Yeah. So Yeah, this one doesn't launch if you're already in heat. It's just you just get a knockdown, but it's still good. It still does like a reasonable chunk of damage in as chip in heat, and yeah, it's just fast and safe, and you know you can just do it basically. Just throw it out there. What's the worst thing that could happen? Right, what is the other ones? Sidestep 2-1. Quite underrated move this, because it's essentially is pretty much hit confirmable 2-hit string. The second hit is high, but so you can duck it.
Okay, let me block the first one.
You can duck it, but most of the time you can see the first hit connect and you can do the second one.
Okay.
And yeah, also like heat engager. This one is also a full launcher in heat, so again quite powerful if you manage to pick up a like a sidestep.
Wow.
Oops, sorry, my things out, but you know you get the general idea.
Yeah.
This is that one is also like a full launcher. So what are his other ones? 1, 2, 4 counter hits. This is a counter hit jab string. Basically, if you counter hit on the first jab, all of this is guaranteed, and he goes in T. Again, this one isn't a launcher. Only Law, I think, has a counter hit jab launcher in. So all he gets is a knockdown. But this is, this is just really good. As one of Bryan's small weaknesses is that he's not the best up close. He doesn't have like. His recovery on his pokes is quite slow. He has quite a lot of hang time when missing a poke, basically like a down 2 or a down 4 or whatever. So this allows you to like turn the tables with a like counter hit jab string. So wait a minute, how many is that? We've got full side forward both punches, we've got down back both punches, we've got 1, 2, 4, we've got sidestep 2-1, and of course we've got forward 2, the classic Mac Breaker. Yep. Again, it's mostly used as a punisher, but should you land it, you will get a full launcher. Yep. And one of the best uses for this is that you can land it after his back four. It is guaranteed. You can see this does 38 damage, which is pretty good. Like a essentially safe move into a heat engager. Like. And again, if you're in heat and you do that, you are essentially like, it's a little difficult to do this on Parsec, but you are essentially getting a like 38 damage launcher. So that's good. That's good. That's so it's it's almost entirely used after back four, but still very, very good.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about like the heat stuff and his mechanic Snake Eyes, because Snake Eyes is a new addition to Bryan, and I feel like it's very, very strong, but I want to know more about it. So could you please explain a bit about like how Snake Eyes work and some of his heat stuff?
Yeah, so Snake Eyes, you can see it. It is active when he has that little glowing rune under his life bar. You see that little glowing thing next to his heat bar?
Yeah.
When that is active, he has heat. He has Snake Eyes, and you can see that he's also got like fire crawling around his arm. And basically, he will get Snake Eyes whenever he gets a completed taunt. The taunt can happen in multiple different ways, but primarily you can get the taunt by just doing 1 + 3 + 4 altogether. And when he finishes it, you'll see sort of steam comes off him, and he will have Snake Eyes available. That's the most basic way, but there's also a bunch of moves where he will automatically taunt afterwards. And basically you can, anytime he does this, he will get Snake Eyes. So let me just get out Snake Eyes. So you can actually get Snake Eyes in the middle of combos. So you can go like so you can see like after this move, when it connected, he did like a little beckoning animation, right? Anytime he does that, he's going into Snake Eyes. You can't cancel it, you can't do anything about it, but he's got the Snake Eyes installed afterwards. So there's a bunch of moves which do this. Mostly it is this move, and I mean, largely it's that one, but he also gets it anytime he goes into heat. And yeah, so once he's got Snake Eyes, he has access to like a few super powerful moves that you only get to use once, and then you're out of Snake Eyes unless you're in heat. And they are, let's do them in order of how good they are, but they're like all three of the major ones are super, super good. The best one is the one they gave him recently, which is his Snake Eyes string. It is forward 2-1-2-3-2. Oops, didn't finish it there. But it is. How that doesn't work? Maybe because I don't have. There we go. But yeah, you can see this does 48 damage. Really, really good. But the thing that makes this completely ridiculous is that there's no reason to ever do it past the third or fourth hits. Because you can confirm it after those hits, and they are super safe. So if you just do forward 2-1-2, he is at -2, which is outrageous. If you do 4 hits, he's only at -3. And even if you finish it, which again, there's no reason to ever finish it unless it's connected, he's only -10.
Wow.
But anyway, so you're only ever going to stop at hit 3. Hit 3 will spend your Snake Eyes, but this move is so good. Like, it has good tracking, it's really hard to interrupt between the hits. As I said, it just does loads of damage. It will break walls. It's crazy, crazy good. It will break walls for, again, 48 damage. Like, we're talking, Death Fist kind of damage. Let's put the full strength. So that move is just crazy good whenever you're in Snake Eyes. Secondly, he has, let me get the Snake Eyes available. Secondly, he has 3+4-2. This is an extension onto his 3+4. This is a natural combo, and it does 40 damage, and it's -1. Like, again, just a completely bonkers move. It will, if you connect this by the wall, the opponent is very probably dead. Only -1 on block means you can just sidestep or backdash out of anything they try and do afterwards. Crazy move. And wait a minute. And also near the wall, you can charge it up, and he can get his special guard break. Again, the guard break is not particularly good. There's some like weird setups you can use it for. So if you block this.
Wow.
But you can see it basically gets you a wall combo.
Yeah.
There's some weird setups you can use for it, but it's the guard break isn't what makes it good. It's just a 3+4-2, just a 40 damage -1 like strength, which is crazy.
Seeing as we're here, hold on, before you finish, seeing as we're here, can you just show the wall combo? So what to do as the wall combo? Because I've seen some outrageous damage.
Yeah, so he's got a few different versions of his wall combo, but some of them are basically mostly it's a choice between whether you want to go for ground hits or not. But his most like straightforward one is going to be something like that's for get up. Oh, wait a minute. Let's make something like back 4, jet up over 4.
Damn, and then with Snake Eyes, it's gonna be more, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you got the Snake Eyes, already got the Snake Eyes available, you will do 5 hits before that up 4, 2, 2, 2, 3 instead of 3. You can also like choose. He's one of the characters that gets like a decent damage boost off using heat by the wall, because he can get some like really crazy extensions. So you can do stuff like this is sorry, I keep forgetting I don't have my let me just get rid of heat, because then it will
okay.
So I don't confuse people.
Wow.
So you can squeeze a little bit more damage out of that, but I'm not confident doing it on like Parsec. But yeah, you can get a little bit more damage. But you can see like, and this is from a move which is essentially safe by the wall. It's it's completely so he does bonkers damage like pretty much any time the wall is involved. Can do that, but again, a little tricky to do in Parsec. But so you can like back four into like again. Let me do it without. You can do it without Parsec control, but he can also do like he can do back by the wall to get heat into the combo. But yeah, crazy wall combos.
Nice.
His last main.
Let's get into it. Back to Snake Eyes.
Last main Snake Eyes move is Snake Eyes Map Breaker, and that is forward both sides of this move.
Okay.
It does a bit more damage than regular Map Breaker. It's not a heat engager, but it has a few like special properties. A, does more damage. B, it's plus on block. So if you block this, see it is +5, which is pretty good. Also, if he does, if you try and attack him during this move, as they showed in the Bryan trailer, he will absorb it and then come back with like a huge overhand punch. And the speed, and it's mostly works. The absorbing mostly works like a power crush, right? It's vulnerable to lows and all that kind of stuff. It will you can't absorb things and then duck the counter that Bryan comes back with because the counters are mid. And B, the power crush state is much earlier than it is in most actual power crushes. Like most power crushes will be 7, maybe like 6 frames. The burning Mach Punch, the Neo Mach Punch as it's called, that activates in 3 frames. So there's a lot of situations where Bryan can get out of stuff like Steve's Lionheart or Devil Jin's Morning Crow, or things that other characters can't get out of. He can escape this stuff with this move. So let me think. What's a good example? So if I do
jab and then do
I'll do down forward 2-1. You block it and then try and down forward 2-1 me back. Right?
Okay.
See, he absorbs it and then he punches them in the face.
Whoa.
And that absorption is very quick, which means that you can use it like in like lots and lots of different situations where a regular power crush wouldn't work.
I just realized something. So the attack is usually a high, but when he absorbs the attack, he does a mid.
Yeah. So you can't, like, there's a lot of power crushes where you can jab into it, and then you can see that it's, that power crush and duck it, right? You can't do that here. If you do that, you will duck. I've done it. I've done it instinctively because I've been like, it's Mach Punch, duck it, and then you'll just hit.
That is crazy. All right, cool. Well, like, talk me through some of like we spoke about heat engages. We spoke about the heat stuff. Unless there's any other stuff you wanted to add about heat stuff.
Oh, that's pretty much it. I mean, the only thing is, like, in heat, you get access to infinite Snake Eyes. Well, not infinite Snake Eyes, but
until it runs out.
Yeah. So every Snake Eyes move you do will use a chunk of the heat effectively. So you can see that like the heat time will be goes down every time the heat, and like 2 things. A, some of them are different. So like you can see that the broken Snake Eyes does not actually use very much heat timer. And secondly, the other thing you will like keen viewers will notice is that if I then spend all my heat, you notice the little glowing rune?
Yeah.
When you go out of heat, going out of heat leaves you in Snake Eyes, so you get 1 more turn snake eyes when you leave heat.
That is
And that's the
silly.
same. The same. So the same is true of like. The same is true if you like do his heat smash and just spend all your heat. You will come out of heat, but you will still have snake eyes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very good.
Cool. So like, give them 2 frame traps that you like to do with Bryan.
So mostly Bryan frame traps are about like delaying a string to make people like mental frame advantage to make people respect it. So one of the best ones for Bryan is like 1-2 delay 1. They press buttons into this, they try and attack after the jabs, then as you see, you get a nice counter hit launcher. So that's one of his best ones. And 2 of his other good ones are down and 2, delay 3.
Down. Okay.
So you can do down 2 to sort of poke away at people, and if they try and press buttons, you can delay the 3, which is the knee. Down to.
Oh, you mean the? Oh,
yeah, that.
Oh, okay.
So you see that knocks down on. If I try and attack off the down 2, I'll get launched. And similarly, like his down forward 2, down forward 2, down forward 2, play 3, that. You will get launched for front press. So it's a lot of mental frame advantage. And the other stuff that people want to do is his hatchet kick. Do these things off his hatchet kick, because it will all work off his hatchet kick, which is his quarter circle back 3. So if you do quarter circle back 3, down 2, delay 3, that will work on a lot of people who are trying to
because they would want to probably like respond to their aggression, right? Fair enough.
So, and both down 2 and down forward 2 are uninterruptible after hatchet kick. So, and jabs are also quite good there as well.
Wow. All right, cool. So, all right. Lastly, do you think taunt is needed? This is a question I didn't say, but do you reckon taunt is needed in this game in terms of how it was in the previous games? I know in the previous games everyone used taunt against the wall, and it was kind of like, all right, well, it's needed. But in this game, it doesn't seem like Bryan players really use it that much or need to use it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's a tool, but do you have to use it in this game?
I don't think you ever like had to use it, but it is very good because you can steal an entire round off basically one mistake by the wall, or sometimes like one mistake in open. There's a lot of ways in which Bryan can set up taunts in open ground. And it can just like instantly kill people, like. Especially because in this game, which is different from Tekken 7, you have access to damage boosting resources almost all the time, right? Meaning, say you're like, and I've done this a bunch of times in this game, is that the round starts, you hit someone with a launcher, you carry them to the wall, they tech roll, you do taunt jet upper, you then spend heat on the wall combo, and they're just dead. That's it. They just tech rolled once, and you basically just 2-touched them. So it is still very useful. I think his actual setups in this game, by the wall, his taunt setups are actually probably slightly better than Tekken 7.
Wow.
Just due to like some of the changes that they've made in the ground system. Basically, one of the things that they've changed in this game that you probably noticed is that when you hit people with like low hits on the ground, you will see like there's a ground shake effect that there didn't actually kind of used to be before, and it means that the advantage is much better. So if we do like so you see this side, that kind of Bryan sort of rocks back on the ground after that gets landed, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't really there in Tekken 7. which means that you get more advantage after these kind of moves than you used to. So in that situation, for example, Bryan now just gets a free taunt if they tech roll, and it's different from Tekken 7 because they can't change the timing of their tech roll after that knockdown. They can't do a delayed tech. They can only tech on one timing, which means it's very, very scary. They basically only have one choice, which is tech roll or stay down and eat ground.
I didn't know
which actually is stronger than the Tekken 7 guess. So yeah, it's still very, very powerful.
I did not know that, because I see like when Victor does like the forward 1+2 move on the floor, that's the type of animation that happens. It's kind of like they move their forward, like they move their body forward quick and then they kind of move back. Yeah, that definitely wasn't in Tekken 7, but to know that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like combos in this game where people used to have to sacrifice like trade between like damage and damage and like ground follow-ups, right, and at advantage, like Claudio's thing, or like Dragunov doing his shoulder on the ground or whatever. But that stuff is that doesn't really matter. That doesn't really happen anymore. With like ground hitting stuff, you still get big advantage to follow up. So you get damage and you get follow-ups now, which is very, very strong.
Crazy. All right. Well, last question is, what do you think of Bryan's future in Tekken 8? Obviously, we've seen that Lydia's coming out soon, and obviously there's gonna be other DLC characters coming out. We're not getting no patch notes no more until season 2. Do you feel like Bryan is gonna move up? Are people gonna start discovering that Bryan is actually stronger than what he is on the tier list right now, or do you think Bryan's gonna kind of stay the same?
I mean, I think he's always just kind of, so Bryan is one of those characters like all the way through Tekken 7 he just got buffs, basically, like some very, very minor nerfs, but like almost all the time it's just buffs. Namco loved buffing this character. You know, they gave him the Snake Eyes buff, they reverted his taunt scaling in this game, all that kind of stuff. So they love buffing him, but also he's just like, he is quite difficult to play. He's quite difficult in a way to, I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. There is a simple and straightforward way of playing Bryan that is not hard to play at all. If you just play with like this move and this move, and you do damage, and you do mental frames off 1, 2, and you do court circuit at 1, and you do some other pokes every now and again, and you just look for counter hits and then counter hits and lows and so on. He's not all that difficult to play, and you don't need, as you said, you don't need to use taunt. The difference is that like the problem with that is that if you're playing like that, you sort of might as well play Dragunov. Like if you're playing him without the taunts and without like looking to whiff punish and move with him and you use his more technical stuff. So I think that's the main problem with him, is that he's just quite. The main problem is that like to play him at a very high level is very difficult, because you need to optimize those little things like the taunts, and you need to be able to move and whiff punch with him and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah. And just because, like I said, a lot of his pokes have like decent recovery on them, and he doesn't, like they're quite bad on whiff, all this kind of stuff compared to like a down forward 1, and he's not great at panic buttons up close, which means that he can get rushed down a bit. So you need to basically be able to win like first to 2 sets off like landing singular big interactions. So I think he's going to stay basically. I think there's definitely like more to be discovered with the character. There's still like more optimization to be found. Like he can be pushed to a very high level that I don't know if we've necessarily quite seen yet. But again, like his difficulty will probably keep him from winning too many tournaments. But there are a lot of like really good Bryan players out there. There's Starbreaker from Germany. There's Ty from America. There's Bilal, and who's the other Pakistani Bryan player who's super good?
It's not Newman. I don't know.
He beat I can't remember his name, but anyway, crazy good Bryan player. Like he beat Knee, I think, in a first to 5 recently.
Oh wow.
But there's also like me, and there's Lohai as well in case he wants to play Bryan at some point. But yeah, I think he is a very strong character. I've got no complaints about how strong the character is at all. But I think just the difficulty of him will probably keep him from maybe. I mean, he's certainly not going to like dominate tournaments. I think definitely he can win tournaments. 100%. I think one of those guys will probably win like a decent tournament at some point. But and yeah, it's just he's just a like very powerful character. Just like as I said, like huge damage, can win like whole rounds off like a single mistake. He just needs to. You need to be good at surviving until that kind of thing happens. It's Taunt Dash Day. Very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wicked.
But yeah, I mean, he's and people and like and I don't. One of the things I don't want to say about this character, I don't want to say that he's honest, and I don't want to say that he's honest. He's not honest. He kills people off unblockables by the wall. Like he does some of the most dishonest stuff in the game, but that's what makes him cool. Like there's nothing more satisfying in this game than absolutely robbing someone with like a taunt setup or something like that, and they just don't get to play. He's not like people will be like he's hard. When he's working, he's very, very unfair.
Nice. All right, cool, man. Well, I hope all the Bryan players appreciate this episode of Teach Me. Obviously, again, it's a pleasure to obviously have you on board on this episode, man, for Bryan, for sure. Like, I feel like we've done the Tekken 7 ones, and now we've got Tekken 8 here. We've got Tekken 8. So again, man, I'm really happy to have you on board. For people that wanted to know your social media, what are your social medias? I know that the old school don't really like the social medias and stuff like that, but if you do have it, let them know.
Yeah, I'm mostly just on Twitter. I'm at Evil Greg Jetson. So I mostly post about like mixed martial arts stuff. I have a podcast that I do on that with a friend called Connor Rebush. But yeah, occasionally I will talk about Tekken stuff. I'm also you can find me around in like the Tekken Zaibatsu Bryan Discord. But yeah, that's me. That's where you can find me.
Wicked, man. I know you said that you had a mixed martial arts podcast. What's the name of the podcast for the people that don't know, man? So they can follow that too.
Yeah, so it's Heavy Hands. I think it comes out every Wednesday. We've been doing it for like quite a few years now. So we got a decent audience, and yeah, we basically break down upcoming, previous UFC cards, anything else that might be popping up. So Bellator, occasional like kickboxing or boxing. But yeah.
Sick, man. I know there's a lot of people on here that watch like mixed martial arts. Like, I know Dante is a big lover of mixed martial arts, man, and he's very opinionated. And I know there's probably other people on there that are watching this as well. So go check that out, support it as well. If Marduk does come back, would you try him out? Because he does the Valtudo stance and all of those, the mixed martial arts. Would you try him out?
I'll try him out. I think I'll definitely give him a go. But yeah, I think this is one of the games. I just really like Bryan in this game. Like he's one of the when I play the game, I'm just like I have no desire to play other characters because I just really enjoy him. Yeah, so I'll probably like give Marduk a look, but I'm definitely just unless like someone like Urian comes out as a guest character.
Gosh.
I won't be. I'll be sticking with Bryan for the whole of Tekken 8, I think.
Do you enjoy Bryan more in Tekken 8 than Tekken 7?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Snake Eyes stuff is like there's just a ton of different ways to use it. His heat's very fun without like necessarily being like as much of a like 50-50 machine as some of the other characters. Like I think it's more interesting than a lot of the other characters. So yeah, I really like him in this game. I thought he was like amazingly well designed in Tekken 7, just as like a fun character, and he's even better in Tekken 8.
Wicked, man. Well, again, thank you very much for coming on board to the Teach Me episode, man. Really appreciate you joining on board again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Wicked, man. For people that are watching this, remember to leave a comment, thumbs up, remember to subscribe, and obviously we'll be on to the next one. Take it easy, everyone. Peace.